What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Hustle with Julian. Today I'm going to be talking about my experience with my dirt bike dealership and kind of go over the lessons that I've learned in the last 8 months of having a dealership. I've had a lot of hustles throughout the years, things that I've tried, made, a few thousand here, a few thousand there. But this is the first business I ever actually started that I actually had an LLC for. I registered it and I did things by the book for the most part. So it's been a completely different experience for me because when you're hustling, it's just a short-term thing. When you're starting a business, that's a long-term thing. It's a different strategy. You're not looking at customers as a one-way transaction. You're looking at a customer as a lifelong customer, and they should have a greater value to you than just that quick flip, if that makes sense. Some of the advice and the lessons that I've learned in business, some of these are going to pertain just to the dirt bike business and dirt bike dealerships or dealerships in general, but a lot of this can be applied to all businesses no matter what industry you might be in. If there's a local dealer near you that's selling the exact same product that you are, my advice would be go and talk to them and tell them, hey, I'm looking to start up this business. I wanted to come to you and see if you had any advice for me. What do you think I should know about this business? What should I be prepared for in this business? How much money should I have accumulated before I start this business? What are the ups and downs of this business? How's the market of this business? What's the market like in this area? Things like that are gonna help you understand what you're getting yourself into. In addition to that, it's going to help you really get prepared and gauge whether this is something you want to do or not and really be committed to doing. And not only that, you getting in contact with this dealer that might be local to you that sells the same products as you, he's going to automatically have more respect for you because you came and talked to him man to man first. And second, let's say you're in a territorial business where you're supposed to have control over a certain market. If they see you doing something that they don't like, they know exactly who you are. They can give you a call straight on your phone and let you know, hey, you're not supposed to do this. And that way it protects you from getting crushed, because if you have another local dealer that's, let's say, doing millions of dollars in revenue and they're working with the same manufacturer or distributor that you are, if you step on their toes or if you piss them off, they'll cut your head off. And what I mean by that is they'll choke out your supply chain to where you have no inventory to sell. And believe me, that happens all the time in business. And I'm saying this really from experience because I experienced something like this. I didn't say anything bad about the competition. I actually recommended them for a lot of things, but they had thought that I was not doing business correctly. I wasn't licensed, and that I was just doing this illegally, even though that wasn't the case. But eventually, I ended up talking to him on the phone and we straightened things out and things are all good now. But you can avoid this whole type of conflict just by going and introducing yourself and put yourself in a better position in terms of advice and different things like that. So I strongly recommend that. I wasn't thinking of that when I first started the business, and now that I've been in the business 8 months, I wish I would have done that from the very beginning, because it completely would have changed things for me in a lot of different aspects. Less headaches, less problems, and a better idea of what I was getting myself into and what to expect. The next point I'm going to talk about is going to be know your market. You really need to know your market. When I got into this business, I was talking to a gentleman out from Florida. He told me, hey man, I'm killing it out here. I'm making $30K a month in sales. And keep in mind, this guy didn't even have a dealer's license, and he was just buying them off the internet and flipping them in his area at a markup. He was selling them for, $1,600 a piece, and he would buy them online for like $1,200 after shipping. When I heard that, I was like, man, $30K a month, I'm a hustler. I know I could at least make $10K a month, right? So that's what inspired me, got me juiced up, got me motivated to get into the business, but do it the right way and get a dealership license. And that's what I did. Come to find out, my market is not as good as his market. His market was a lot better than mine. My turnover rate is a lot slower. I came into this business thinking I only need so much capital because my turnover is going to be so high so fast, that I'm gonna be able to scale up quickly, right? But that's completely flipped around. If you don't have fast turnover, you need a lot more capital because you need more units, more inventory to sell more volume. And that brings me into my point of having capital in general, period. Like, you definitely want to have money for a rainy day. You can bootstrap it like I did. I bootstrapped it, but I can tell you guys, there's been months where I don't even make a single sale and I still have to pay rent. I still have to pay expenses for the business. I still have to pay for business licensing, you know, different things of that nature. And those all add up to thousands and thousands of dollars. So it's definitely something you want to have a rainy day fund. To dissect a little bit and elaborate on what I mean by having more units in order to have more volume. So let's say, for example, my market, it's slower turnover, right? So I can't just start with just buy 2,000-3,000 worth of bikes and make a sustainable amount of profit and just flip that back. Since I'm in a slower market, I need to have more units. So I need to have the kids ATV, the adult ATV, the kids bikes, the mid-sized kids bikes, the adult bikes, the 250cc bikes, the scooters, the electric bikes, the UTVs. If you have a range of products, just like the car dealership, if you have a range of products, you're gonna get more volume because you have more units for different types of buyers. So that's in turn is going to increase your overall volume, versus if you're in a slow market and you only have 3 types of bikes, you're only going to get a few sales here and there. And that's exactly been my experience, because I haven't had the money to be able to buy multiple different types of units. I've only been able to buy 1 or 2, maybe 3 different types of units at a time. And since it's a slow market, I'm only getting a few sales. Versus if I had all those units, I'd increase my volume overall, which would in turn make it more profitable for me. With volume comes growth, like they say. Next important tip I have for you guys is a POS system. What a POS system stands for point of sale. So you want to have a POS system. It's going to make your life 20 times easier. One of the hardest things I've had to overcome with starting a business is just bookkeeping and keeping track of all the expenses and all the sales and all that stuff. And I had no idea even what a POS system was until I got into business. And you need to have that from day one, because it's gonna do a few things for you. Number one, it's going to collect data for your customers. Okay, I'm gonna break that down here shortly. It's gonna collect data for your customers. Number two, it's gonna keep track of all your sales, and you can automatically sync it to your booking account like QuickBooks, where it's gonna track your expenses and your sales together. In addition to that, it's also gonna include things like sales tax, so you know exactly how much you charge this customer and how much the sales tax was for that customer. They bought a $1,000 bike, it was 8.2% tax, they paid $88 tax on that unit. And just like you wanna have a POS system, you also wanna have an accounting system to keep track of all of your expenses, for everything from rent to the tools you buy, to the gas you use, to the parts you buy. All that stuff adds up, and really you need to keep track of all this stuff to know if you are truly profitable. Because if you're just keeping track of the main things like, oh, I got this much rent, I paid this much for inventory, I sold the bike for this much, there's a lot of other expenses that are incorporated that you're not keeping track of. And if you're not keeping track of those, you might think you're profitable, but at the end of the day, you're really not profitable, because you spend $1,000 on a trailer, you spend another $1,000 on tools, you spend another $500 on parts. You had to take 3 returns for dirt bikes and go and resell them at a lesser value than you bought them for, so you lost money on that inventory that you had to take back as a return. Things like that all need to be accounted for in order to really keep your books straight and really know how much money you're making and what you can do in your system in order to make it more efficient and create less losses over time, so that can boost your profit. Back to the POS system, talking about data collection. We live in a data-driven world, okay? Everything is about data. Facebook, Amazon, Tesla, all that stuff, Google Maps, all of it is data. All of it is data. And when it comes to business, you especially need your customers' data. The first reason why is going to be for the demographics. If you're going to be trying to get more additional prospects, you want to know what your demographic is. If I'm selling dirt bikes, most of the time my demographic is parents, probably in their 30s to 40s. In that age from 30s to 40s, they have kids that are 10, 15, 17 years old, and they're buying them dirt bikes. So that's my demographic. You need to know what your demographic is for your particular sales. If it's cars, if you sell scraper cars, then you're gonna have scraper clientele. If you sell Mercedes-Benz, you're gonna have luxury clientele. There's a difference, and that's why you need to collect the data to know what your demographic is. In addition to that, when you're building a long-term business, your client should have a lifetime value on top of their head, right? If they're paying you $1,000 today, they should have a value of like 10x that, like $10,000 on top of their head to you, right? And the reason why I say that is because there's repeat and referral business, right? So they can come back and buy another bike from you. Maybe their kid's 10 now, they come back 3 years later when they're 13 and they hit a growth spurt, they want to buy a different bike from you. You need to retarget them so they don't forget about you, you know? You might just, if you don't retarget them and you don't have their data, you're just going to be that one random guy they met off Facebook that they wish they had his number because he was super cool, but you never hit him up because you're not operating like a real business, and now, you know, you just missed out on that sale. That's one instance. Another instance is referrals. Mom buys a bike for their kid goes to the park, shows their friend's like, oh my gosh, I want one. The mom's like, where'd you get it from? Oh, this guy off Facebook. Oh, I don't have his number though. You know, and that's because you don't hit them up. You're not sending out a marketing campaign for text and email and stuff like that, and you're losing out on business like that. And I'm saying this all out of experience because the first 6 months, 7 months, I didn't do any of this stuff. I really came into it with the hustle mindset of just getting the transaction, because when I got into this business, I was trying to create some revenue. I figured I had high expectations that I was at least gonna make 6 figures, at minimal 50,000 profit a year. Come to find out, that didn't work out. But I wanted to use the money from this business to help fund another business that I felt like was more lucrative, and it had a bigger market overall, and it was a small product that I can ship and I could sell nationwide, even possibly globally as well. I'm still in it for right now, and these are all lessons I've learned from starting this business, and some of these I haven't made the change on, right? But I'm going to make the change in my next business. Whether I'll stay in this business or not, I'm really not sure at this point. I'm gonna go over some numbers with you here shortly. Next, the last thing I have for you guys is just build up reputation. If this is something you're serious about, if you're really trying to start a business and not just a hustle, you're in it for the long game, not the short game. So you wanna start building that reputation. So you wanna have a Google review page, you know, a Google listing where your customers can review your services. You want to have a Facebook page where they can leave you reviews. You want to make a couple videos with your customers like, hey, you know, just sold this bike, whatever. You want to do those types of things because that's social proof. So when you got somebody who's like, I don't know, this guy's kind of sketchy, you could send them a video or send them a link to your Google review page, and they're like, oh snap, you know, he has 50 positive reviews, this guy must be legit. I'm gonna make the drive out to go see him. Right? So things like that. These are all things I've learned. I'm applying some of these to my business now. I'm in a middle spot where I'm really not knowing how things are going to work out the next couple months because I'm starting another business, and it could be, you know, 10 times more lucrative than this business. And if that's the case, then I'll probably just move on and move forward with that business solely. But just to go over some of the numbers with you guys, in my first 6 months of business with the dirt bikes, I did 42,000 gross. Now some of you guys might be thinking, wow, 42,000 in 6 months, that's 84,000 in a year at the same rate. You must be doing pretty good. But like I said, there's, in this particular business, in different industries, 42,000 may be good. But in this industry, for me, 42,000, the margins were very, very slim. And on paper, I actually took a $7,000 loss on paper. if you don't include things like the startup fees, the dealer licenses, the tools, the trailers, different things like that that are really kind of startup costs, if you don't include those, I probably would have made, you know, maybe 10,000 bucks. Maybe I would say anywhere from 5 to 10,000 just going off the top of my head. And that's really not much, you know, for 6 months of work. That's great side hustle money, but that's not, you know, quit your 9 to 5 money. Like, that's what I was expecting when I got in the business. I expected to make at least 50,000 net a year. And that would have been great for me. That would have propelled me exactly in the place I needed to be in order to start this other business that I'm working on right now. But, you know, everything happens for a reason. I learned a lot of lessons from this business. I'm not saying I'm quitting on this just yet, but, you know, we're going to see how things are going to go. But I've had a great experience, and it's taught me a lot of things about actually operating a business. At the January and February were the hardest months ever. I didn't sell one single bike or ATV in January or February. I had to come out of pocket with my rent and every other expense that I had. And come to find out that January and February are the worst months for a lot of businesses. A lot of businesses, you know, peak in December and then taper off like a roller coaster straight down January and February, because people have spent a lot of money during the Christmas season, and they're using that time to kind of recuperate some funds and get some savings back up. They've already spent a bunch of money. So that was another lesson learned. And, you know, now it's March, things are starting to pick up. I sold a couple bikes this month, like 3 or 4. It's been okay. Able to pay my rent for my facility, my little office here, so that's good. But it is a tough business. If anyone's thinking about getting in the dirt bike dealership business, it's been a tough business for me. Maybe you're in an area like Florida where the guy was that I first talked to. Maybe it's not tough. Maybe you just kill it, you know, like he did, and you're just making a ton of money. But that's why I say your area, know your market, is so vital and so important. And that's one of the best things I could say about this new business that I'm getting into, is that the market is going to be global. The market can be global because this is a lightweight product. Like this right here, this is a lightweight product that you could sell anywhere. You could ship this to New York easily, cheaply. You know, you could ship this to Beijing if you need to. You could do a lot of things with a light product like that, and that's one of the best things about having a product. If you're selling a physical product, one of the best things is you can sell it anywhere. Digital product even better, because you don't have to pay for shipping. These are just the lessons I learned. I wanted to throw this stuff out there for you guys. Anybody who's looking to get in a dirt bike dealership, anyone who's looking to start a business, I feel like there's valuable lessons in this video, and this is stuff I really wish I had access to, and that's why I make these videos, because I want to make the type of videos I wish I had access to learn from. So hope you guys like this video. I hope you learned something valuable from this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace and stay hustling.